All right, now that we got that out of the way, all right, let's clear our throats and get busy. So I assume you guys have the college fair due now done, which is wonderful. Happy Thursday morning. Just for those of you that have not done those of you that haven't fully applied, that haven't made a final decision, are unsure what you want to study, the virtual college fair, I know a few people involved in the planning and execution of it. I think it's a great opportunity. I'm not fully positive which colleges will be there. I'm not fully positive what type of career professionals will be there, but it doesn't hurt to attempt to log in and see if there's something valuable there. All right, guys want to lock down anyway, so you might as well give it a shot. So I leave that to you guys, to be honest. You guys can kind of do with that what you like, but I did want to share that information. As that information was shared with me, I did want to share it with you. Okay, so the next thing to discuss for me would be beyond this. Let's close that out. Your acquisitions, spinoffs, and mergers. These are by and far, for me, again, some of the most exciting stuff, because it really gets you guys to think about what's happening and what makes sense, right? So one thing I do want you guys to think about, and there's 19 of you here, there's not 19 posts of mergers, acquisitions, spinoffs, so please, everyone else, put them in. My concern is that you guys, some of you, are taking the easy way out. You know, everyone's doing Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, or Google. There are thousands and thousands of businesses that exist. We just discussed that airlines and cruise lines are facing the toughest financial situation in over a decade. Oil is now negative. So there's oil companies, there's oil refineries, there's gas stations that are all going to be struggling. There are companies with high amounts of debt that are going to be struggling. So there's an airline Virgin Australia is not getting a bailout from the Australian government. They are looking at if bankruptcy will potentially be an option. Okay, so they're going into what's called a voluntary administration, where they bring in an expert professional to look at all of their options, whether it's selling more stock, whether it's selling the business, whether it's going through a bankruptcy, whether it's a merger or an acquisition. Okay, these are options. And you guys are all doing Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, and Google. That's fine. That's who you're most comfortable with. That's who you know the most. There's a lot more in this world than that. There's a lot more that makes sense than that. You know, Peloton can easily merge, not with Apple, but with Nautilus, another fitness at-home company who owns Bowflex. And they can integrate that technology together, right? Imagine having a Bowflex where the exercise class that they're running is on the screen attached to a Bowflex, and it's not just cycling or a treadmill, but actually lifting and moving and using weights. So you guys have a lot of options. I feel like some of you guys might have just Googled it and you found some things that are popular, which is kind of cheap. in terms of, limited research if you just steal the idea from an article. And then others of you guys, I think, are using the companies the best, which is not necessarily the easy way out, but it's also not necessarily the most realistic possibility. Okay? Like Apple acquiring Netflix, never going to happen. Microsoft acquiring Spotify, possible. Google buying Tesla, never going to happen. Apple buying Peloton would be a cool idea. Don't think it ever happens. Amazon acquiring Under Armour, great idea. I think that's actually a possibility. Or is Under Armour merging with Lululemon to fight Nike and Adidas? Or Under Armour merging with another small business? HP buys Rockstar. Apple buys Nintendo. Again, Apple's a big business, but I love the idea of Apple and Nintendo. We'll talk about that briefly. HP buys Activision. Facebook buys Snapchat. I find that one interesting, but a little hard to believe. I don't think the DOJ would approve that. You'd have to argue this, but there's only so many social media applications out there. Facebook was approved for WhatsApp. They were approved for Instagram. I just feel like Snap and Twitter purchased by Facebook would be a little bit difficult to approve because there's so limited social media platforms. Alphabet acquiring Netflix. So we have Shushin saying Apple acquires Netflix. And then we have Sabrina saying Alphabet acquires Netflix. If you were Netflix, who would you rather be with? Who can pay more? Who can integrate Netflix better into their ecosystem? All right. Apple acquires iRobot. Prasanga. Where's Frida? Frida, where's yours? Did you change yours, Frida? Oh, let me let you guys unmute yourselves also. Frida, type in yours. Darren, Intel acquires NVIDIA. Interesting. That would make a pretty huge chip company. Ethan said Samsung merges with Microsoft. Samsung is a South Korean company. Is that correct? Nintendo's Japanese. Samsung is South Korean. I find it hard to believe the U.S. government. Well, then again, maybe because we're on better terms with South Korea than China. Maybe the U.S. government would approve that. That is interesting. That would, yeah. So Prasanga, you need something new, because Frida had pitched that to me way before you did. So Prasanga, you need 2 new companies. I'm not sure how you both end up with. There's thousands of businesses in the world. Not sure how you guys ended up overlapping. Ethan, yeah, that merger is interesting. It would create a behemoth of a business. It would create a behemoth of a business. Apple acquiring Dyson, then so let's do this. Frida, have you started your research yet with iRobot? I believe we spoke yesterday and you had already started it.
I started it briefly, but I think I can still change it if it needs to be.
Okay, Prasanga, how far did you get with your research, if at all? Or is that just your idea? Prasanga, where you at, brother? Brief, okay. So let's do this. Since we spoke first, I think that we'll let you do iRobot. Prasanga, if you still want to do something in that sector, maybe Apple with Dyson, if you want to do that, or something similar. And then it's almost like you're pitching to me. Imagine I'm Apple, right? And you both have an idea. So here's what usually happens. An investment bank is hired by a business to help them find an acquisition target. So Apple says, we want to get into something with home cleaning, right? We want to do something tech-based with home, something like that. The investment bank would give them 2 offers. So basically these two presentations, Apple and Dyson or Apple and iRobot. Similar to if an investment bank said, hey, Alphabet, you should buy Netflix, or you can buy Hulu from Disney, right? And you would get two pitches and you would see which one is better, which one makes more sense, which one costs more. You know, so Facebook buys Snapchat. Well, maybe Facebook buys Twitter instead, or Facebook buys TikTok from the Chinese company, right? So you would be a bank that helps them find. So the company would say, here's what we're looking to do, right? So Apple wants to develop a gaming system. Well, you can build it from scratch, or you can acquire one that exists. Can they purchase Nintendo? Or as the investment bank, I could pitch them, don't purchase Nintendo, purchase a different console system, right? So who owns PlayStation? Is there a, I know Microsoft owns Xbox, so Sony owns PlayStation. Hell, maybe Apple buys Sony. So that would be like the competition. An investment group, an investment banker tells Apple, you need to buy Nintendo to break into gaming. Another company says, Apple, you need to buy Sony in order to break into content and gaming. Sony has content with Spider-Man and some of their what they own. And then they also have PlayStation and that platform. So you now have a competition. So Frida, I'll let you stay with iRobot since we spoke earlier than Prasanga pitching this. So I apologize for that, Prasanga. Prasanga, if you want to stay in that industry, great. If not, just shoot me a message a little bit later. Tell me if you came up with something new. But again, if you guys haven't even started any research yet, like do something off the wall. Give me an oil company and a refinery that need to merge because they're both losing money. Give me an airline that merges with another company. You know, give me 2 cruise lines. Or give me a cruise line and an airline. Or maybe Expedia that does bookings now actually buys a cruise line. I have no idea. But look at some of the things that have been beaten to hell over the past 6 weeks. Maybe there's a shipping company that has done so poorly that Walmart buys a shipping company. So they want to fight Amazon better on shipping, on 2-day shipping. All right, Prasanga, you unmuted. You got something to add?
Oh, no, I was going to say something earlier, but it's fine.
What do you got? Speak up. The floor is yours.
So, for instance, like you said, Walmart buying like a shipping company. In what terms would like it can be a completely in a different industry, right?
Yes.
Like the idea is the company can expand to the industry even if it's not currently involved in it.
Correct. So this is what I'm going to discuss with you guys now. So Prasanga, great question. There are, and most of you guys seem to be doing acquisitions. One merger I think I saw, and no spinoffs. Kind of disappointed, as I love the spin-off idea. Is always fun to discuss if like YouTube should spin off from Google, right? Is YouTube handcuffed and stuck in a box because they can't expand because they're owned by Alphabet, right? Like PayPal has grown from a $10 billion business to a $130 billion business within like 6 years because they left eBay. Right? Is YouTube one of those? Can YouTube fight Netflix? Because YouTube can grow and build content and advertising and live streaming, and then YouTube becomes its own business, and YouTube buys Zoom, and then they become a huge, whatever. Spinoffs always excite me a little bit. It's very far and few between that it happens, though. So if we look at acquisitions, there are 3 main reasons an acquisition happens, and you're going to have to comment on these. So looking at your assignment, I made a few tweaks yesterday with William and Frida, and I want to just show them to you. Number 3, I gave you a little bit more detail on the consumer is not happy about the deal. So I wrote merger, but it could be anything. The consumer is not happy about the deal, whether it's the merger, the acquisition, or the spinoff. The consumer doesn't like it. Give them data-proven reasons why it's beneficial to the business from the view of the consumer, right? You can discuss the synergies in the products. You can discuss office locations. So like I said, so maybe we have a situation where Apple is not popular in terms of products in Japan. And by doing this, buying Nintendo, now all of a sudden, Apple can tie in that ecosystem. So you have new office locations and tie your ecosystem into the community. This depends heavily on the business. So you're going to have to do some research, right? You're not going to be able to just say, well, here's what I think. It's going to involve some extensive research. So don't be afraid of doing that. Okay? That's going to be super important to make sure this actually works. Then we can look at part 4. The Department of Justice says it's anti-competitive. Anti-competitive. You'll have to prove this is not going to remove competition and create the biggest business in the world. Right? Like Home Depot buying Lowe's. Never going to be approved. They're literally the only companies that exist for hardware that you can go into a storefront for. Right? There's no way they approve that. Then they would have so much pricing power, it would be antitrust, anti-competitive. So then number 5, investors don't like your idea. They start selling the stock, convince them to buy the stock, and it's better for the business. So number 3 is good for the consumer. Number 4 is it's not anti-competitive against other businesses. Number 5 is it's not going to hurt investors and will help investors. Number 6, we will do tomorrow. Number 6 is all about financial documents. Okay? So you can easily do 3, 4, and 5, or 3 and 4 mainly tonight if you really wanted to work on this and do some research. 6, we're going to do together tomorrow because I do want to do something else right now. So what I want to do now is discuss more heavily on why these things happen. Believe me, it is not charity. It is not charity. Nobody, okay, nobody is ever going to just buy a company for the sake of buying a company. Then you're just kind of throwing money away. Does that make sense? Unless your name is Elon Musk. So Elon Musk bought Solar City. So Tesla bought Solar City back in 2016. Do you guys want to know why he bought Solar City? Somebody say why. Not that, well, kind of charity. His cousin owned it. His cousin owned Solar City, and Solar City was losing money. So Tesla figured they can buy it and somehow, you know, cut costs and help them out. That's really the only reason why he bought it. They don't put like solar panels on top of their cars. Well, now Tesla does solar panels as a side business, I guess. So that's a charity. That was probably a charity case. However, if we are looking, right, if we are looking at the real reason these things happen, there are a few key reasons why they happen. So can somebody give me one reason why you think a merger happens? One key reason. And again, you guys can unmute yourselves if you guys want to talk. One key reason, and there's 3 of them. Give me one. I'm not going to tell you until you guys start guessing. My job is not to think for you.
Potential for revenue growth.
Okay, so one is growth. It's not just revenue growth. So revenue growth comes from two things. So growth in what? So how would you get, there's two ways you can do revenue growth. Revenue is increased, like you're not buying, so Apple buying Peloton, right? Or Amazon buying, Tasneem, what are you doing? Where were you? Amazon buying Under Armour, right? Well, you don't just buy Under Armour because you want more revenue, right? There's got to be a bigger reason to buy Under Armour as Amazon. It's got to be something deeper than that, than just saying, hey, we can make some more money. So yeah, so Serena, 100%, an acquisition and merger could cut operating expenses. Yes. All right. Daniel, 100%, it could increase market share, but think deeper. Why? How do you grow? How did Apple grow when they bought Beats? That's one of the reasons. Apple buying Beats. What was that reasoning?
When they bought Beats, they basically have their own audio.
Nope. They got headphones already. Apple already had headphones, but when they bought Beats, what did they get?
They got new customers.
Yes. So growth in new users. That's number one. So new users, basically a new target. This is why Google just bought Fitbit for $2 billion. Why? Because iPhones are cool. Apple Watches are cool. But if you own a Google Pixel, you might not want an Apple Watch. So buy Fitbit, throw your Android operating system onto the Fitbit watch, sync it simply and easily through the Google ecosystem, and now you have a new target market you can sell to. So my mom has an iPad. Great. My mom also has a Google Pixel. Okay, great. Well, which watch does she want? Well, I'm an Apple lover, so I'd buy her an Apple Watch. But the Apple Watch wouldn't be as seamlessly orchestrated into the Apple platform, into the Google platform as it would Apple. So she would probably be a Fitbit user as her phone has the same operating system. So Google now gets a new target market. Maybe they steal some phone market share because people with a Fitbit now want the Fitbit owner's phone. Or if you have a Google phone and an Apple Watch, maybe you now want Google's operating system, which would lead you away from an Apple Watch and into a Fitbit. Does that make sense? Now, what does that also do? Right? So like Leslie said, new target market. So number one is a new target market. With that, we do cut expenses like Serena said, and we do increase market share like Daniel said. So, right? So growth in new users equals, right, increased market share and decreased expenses. Perfect. That's the first thing. The third thing I'm actually going to add, because Serena just said it, you can eliminate competition. So somebody in New Apps wants to do Apple buying Sonos. Well, they are competitors. So why are Sonos and Apple competitors? You tell me. I'm not going to answer that one. Anybody know Sonos? Hello. Oh, you guys are type. Serena type. So Serena said Beats. Yeah. So Nathan, thank you, Nathan. They're both speaker companies now. Apple has the HomePod, right? And Sonos makes speakers, smart speakers. So they are both in the smart speaker business. Well, if Sonos grows, right, well, that could hurt Apple sales inevitably. So just buy them. Now, Apple bought Beats because they needed to sell to a different target market. Beats headphones suck. They're just as bad as anyone else. JBL probably has the best headphones, or Bose, based on their technology. Beats headphones are crap, but they have a great marketing strategy and a whole new target market. So that's why Apple bought Beats. Apple would buy Sonos just to remove competition. There's probably no real technology in Sonos that Apple doesn't have. They just make speakers. So you know what? Let's just buy them. So one thing you can do is eliminate competition. That's why you purchase them. You think they're going to grow. Let's buy them before they get too big. 100% makes sense to me. So let's go down to number 2. So actually, I'm going to delete this word grow. Okay, so 1 is growth in users. 3 is eliminate competition. 2 is an increase in what? What would be 2? 2 can be an increase in blank. Give me the blank. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Growth in users is 1. Eliminate competitions 3. An increase, yeah, for an acquisition. We're talking acquisitions right now. Even mergers. Mergers and acquisitions are the same deal for this. All right? Mergers help increase market share and cut expenses and help you target new users. Mergers also increase this the same way an acquisition would increase this. It's the reason why I think Google should buy Twitter. Nope, not all of these will equal more revenue, Daniel. You don't buy a company to lose money, right? That would be like the craziest thing in the world. So the revenue is kind of too obvious over time. What would drive revenue? So what drives revenue? Well, the first thing over here that drives revenue is going to be growth in users. What else drives revenue? Eliminating competition, increasing your sales. So Mary, talking about diversity. Diversity in what? Good. So Mary said new products. Perfect. Increase in product offerings or services. So hear me out. Hear me out. Okay. So like, yeah, Serena, increase in technology. Brand recognition kind of would go with this, but you're looking for the technology or the integration of these businesses together. So you're increasing product offers or service. So I love, and Serena and I spoke about this in depth the other day about Apple and Nintendo. Apple has no gaming platform. They have the Apple Arcade with no possible way to expand it. They have these cheesy games and this whack controller and no brand recognition. Okay? So a company like Apple can benefit from these new users, and by integrating the Nintendo product lines, the remote controls and the Wii Fit and the little gaming console, you can put everything on Apple iCloud. Now iCloud is, and I'm not trying to do Serena's project, but that was our conversation. So I'm just sharing it, that they have 2 distinct businesses, but you can force them to overlap in a way that it improves the experience for the user. Improve the experience. That's the goal. That will be what Daniel wants to keep saying, is increasing revenue and cutting costs. So yeah, Nintendo's different than Apple, but yeah, if you can throw everything Nintendo has on the cloud and access it via the cloud and connect it, maybe you don't even need the Wii console anymore. maybe the Nintendo console is the little Apple TV box. So again, this is what the Apple TV box looks like. If you have one, you know this is what it looks like, and that's the remote. Well, what if this little box did everything? It did Apple TV, it did Apple Music, and it did Nintendo. Now, yes, you're wholesomely cutting costs because you're no longer manufacturing a completely separate product. And you're increasing Apple's services, because here's the problem with Apple. Apple's an iPhone company. They're a hardware company. They do services, but not much. So what do you need to do? I'm going to bang my table. Apple needs to grow services. Well, how the hell does Apple grow services? You have to offer a new service. Hello? This is that service. Gaming is that service. So instead of building your gaming system from scratch, just buy the gaming system that exists and integrate it seamlessly. I love it. I really, as an Apple investor, I love the idea. As a Nintendo user, I would love the idea. As somebody who would like to play video games at some point, even though I don't have time, it would be so much easier for me to play video games as an adult if it was all on my Apple TV instead of buying multiple consoles and not being able to put them everywhere. Those are the three reasons why mergers and acquisitions happen. New users, new target market, increased and integrate product offerings and services, and eliminate other competition. All of this, Daniel, increases what? All caps. Go ahead. Now you can write it. All of this would increase what? Revenue. Hell yeah. It would increase, part of my language, the hell out of revenue. And it would decrease the hell out of expenses. Because now you have multiple teams working on two separate companies. Well, one team working on Apple and Nintendo. One cloud system. One remote control. One Apple TV, not an Apple TV, and then a Nintendo gaming platform. Well, let's take Google. Google is a data company. I've been wanting Google to buy Twitter for 5 years. I hate the Twitter management team. I love the Google management team. Google has no social media presence. Google needs a social media presence. Google's all about data. Hello, buy Twitter. It's got the most data after Google. Snapchat is all fun for kids. Facebook, you're no way in hell you're going to buy Facebook. And that's fun for communicating with friends. Twitter is news. Twitter is likes and retweets which show your biases. That's the same thing as searching stuff. And how many of you never signed up for Twitter? How many of you never signed up for Twitter? Okay. Not until recently, not you, after VE, okay? So let me ask you guys a question. On a percentage scale, how many of your friends have Twitter? I would say 80% of the people I know do not have, I would say 80 to 90% of people I know do not have it. Well, ready for this? What if I told you you didn't have to make a Twitter account? What if I told you that you can click on Twitter and as long as you have a Gmail account, you automatically have a Twitter account? That makes it easier to do what? Hell yeah, Ethan, connect. William, use the service. Leslie, access the platform. Yes. So you don't even have to make a Twitter account. It's like logging into Gmail. It's like logging into YouTube. You automatically increase the number of users on Twitter. And now all of a sudden, Twitter and YouTube can somehow integrate video better into Twitter. When you upload a video to YouTube, you can maybe go live on YouTube and it streams consecutively live on Twitter. If you're streaming a game or a sporting event on Google, you can stream it the same on Twitter. It's literally the same service. All right, so Ethan says, what does it mean if a website says continue with Google? So that's your login. When you log into certain accounts, you can log in with a Google account or an Apple account or a Facebook account or a Twitter account sometimes. But the difference is that's just how you log in for privacy. What I'm saying now is Google would be able to access all the data Twitter has. It would make your Google searching so much easier and better and more personal. Did I convince you guys at all that Google should buy Twitter? No. Okay. William, yes. Leslie, yes. Ethan, no. That is your job, guys. And I've had maybe too much coffee, which is why I sound so animated. Your job is to be convincing. Now, I didn't even talk about money yet. I talked about growth in users, product offerings and services and integrating them, and let's eliminate competition. Well, you're not using Yahoo News because you're not, well, number one, you're using Google over Yahoo, right? But now you can get news on Twitter and Google. But now if I'm saying, you know, you can communicate with friends on Facebook. Well, what if I told you that now that it's easier to access Twitter, it might be easier to communicate there also. 3 is kind of implied. It does let Google fight more. So I just think that you guys have to make sure you go through these 3 things. That's going to be big for you. Okay? So don't just, Daniel, I love that you're talking revenue and expenses. I love you guys for that. I mean, that means you guys are smarter than most people. How do you get to revenue? Revenue and expenses are the byproduct of these 3 things. Growth in users, a growth or increase in services and offerings, and eliminating competition. These 3 things equal more revenue and less expenses. Are there questions on that? So don't go into your presentation, Amazon's going to make more money by buying Under Armour. Duh. But what you can tell me is Amazon's going to grow their user base. Amazon's going to own a new apparel company because Amazon's going into apparel and is really not taking off. Now Amazon would be able to integrate the Under Armour store into Amazon, meaning that maybe Under Armour's store is actually through the Amazon platform somehow, and then they can sell advertising just like they normally would to other people on that platform and drive more traffic. I don't know how it would work. Maybe Amazon just really needs a clothing line because they want to break out from the norm. I'm not sure what their goals are. Your job is to figure that out. So you have to assume you're an investment bank and I hired you. Pretend I'm the business. I am HP. You have to convince me to do this. So Ethan's asking a question. How's a partnership different than an acquisition? So have you guys heard about the partnership between Google and Apple? They are going to be partnering. They're going to be partnering with their Bluetooth technology on contact tracking. What does that mean? When you walk around, you are now going to be able, your phone is going to connect Bluetooth-wise and tell you, are you near someone who has had the virus? So let's say we're in school in the fall and you walk by someone on the street and your phones were easily able to connect via Bluetooth because you're within like 6 feet. Well, if you're within 6 feet, you're now considered at risk of having the virus because you were so close. If they coughed or touched you or sneezed, maybe you now have it on your clothes, and then you touch your shirt, you bite your nails, now you're sick, you have the virus. Google and Apple are partnering to do what's called contact tracing through your mobile device. Since they own like 99% of the market through their operating systems, if they communicate, you now have most of the world connected. So you can find out, are you someone who should get tested because you were near someone? Now, this is not a merger. They did not join to one new company. This is not an acquisition. Nobody bought anyone. It's a partnership. They're working together because they think that working together could, one, do better for the world. Two, it could increase money for both of them because you're sharing more data about people. And they're both data-driven businesses. So that's a partnership. Amazon could partner with Under Armour. Yup. Amazon could partner with Under Armour. Amazon and Nike actually just got into a fight where Nike said they're no longer selling stuff on Amazon. That was like a month ago. So research that, Tasneem. So if Nike's giving the middle finger to Amazon, if I'm Amazon, fine. I'm going to buy one of your competitors, and I'm going to try to regrow Under Armour to fight Nike. So if I'm Amazon, screw you, Nike. Now I'm coming for you. Now you're on my radar. Yup, you messed up. Now I'm coming. And now Under Armour offers free 2-day shipping forever. Well, guess what? Maybe you move from Nike to Under Armour because it's free 2-day shipping permanently because that's part of Amazon Prime. Oh my gosh. How now Amazon just screwed Nike. They would steal some market share because there's a perk. So a partnership like Apple and Google, you can develop an Amazon Under Armour partnership, or you can do Amazon purchasing Under Armour. You would not do Apple and Google purchasing one another or merging. The Department of Justice would block it so easily. So does that make sense? Partnerships, you don't want to have to buy a company you can partner with. Like somebody messaged me about Lyft buying Grubhub so they can do like more food delivery. You know what? I mean, you could probably partner with Grubhub and not have to buy them. Because why buy a failing company, right? Like Google bought Fitbit, they're a failing business, but they have hardware and followers. Grubhub is trash. Why buy Grubhub? Just partner with them. Does that kind of make sense? Like only buy someone that you need. Like they have something you need. Twitter has data Google needs. Nintendo has content and gaming that Apple needs. Right? Apple needs a new product. Apple buys iRobot. Google bought this company. Do any of you guys have this in your house or your apartments, or wherever you guys are, or family or friends? Does anybody have Nest in their house? Nest is now like a security system and a temperature control system. Google bought them. Why? Because Google wants to do home-related technology that ties into their ecosystem. The same like Amazon bought Ring. You can't partner with Nest. You need their technology. To seamlessly integrate it, you need access to that business. So just buy the business. So that's why you would buy a business over partnering with the business. Does that make sense? Any questions on that, guys? And I know we're done. It's already 12:15. Sorry, we kind of went off on a tangent. That's really what you guys need to know for consumer-wise. 3 is like the fun part for you guys. All right? 1 is easy. 2 is how will the transaction happen. And we can discuss 2 and 6 tomorrow. We are only doing finances tomorrow, number 2 and number 6. Okay? So we are only doing 2 and 6 tomorrow. We kind of covered number 3 today. We kind of covered number 4 today in terms of, is it anti-competitive? Is there enough other competition in the world, right? So Apple buying Nintendo. Well, there's PlayStation with Sony. There's Xbox with Microsoft. Google has Google Stadia now. Amazon has Twitch, which is used somewhat for gaming. So maybe the Department of Justice doesn't block it, but you still have to convince them. Okay? So I'm good to let you guys go. You can at least do number 3 and 4 tonight if you really were ready to get busy on this. We will focus on 2 and 6 in terms of financing tomorrow. Also, I increased the due date to May 1st, so I gave you guys more time. All right? So you literally have, from today, you have like 9 more days. So I'm giving you more time. You have 7, 8 more days. You got a week and a day. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Would you rather do this assignment alone, or how did the partnering option work with the last assignment? I feel like this one's easier to do alone because it's easier for you guys because you know these businesses, and I think you can get more passionate about it. But I want to know, how did the corporate debt partnerships work if you did that? In the last project you guys did a couple weeks ago. So how did that work out? How did the working in teams work? If we were in school, you would work in teams of 2 for this. I would let you work in teams of 2 because we would do it in class. Since we're not in class, I'm just wondering from you guys, what do you guys think? Would you rather do this alone, or do you think partnering with someone would really improve the quality of work that you guys can deliver? All right, Leslie votes alone. If you vote alone, can you just throw a number 1 in the box? If you want to do it in teams, can you throw a number 2 in the box? Dope. I love number 1. And I'm proud of you guys for that. You know, working alone really forces you guys to test yourself. And I commend you for that. So that's pretty dope to see as an educator. At least in a class like this. So keep working. Tomorrow we will do, tomorrow we will address investors. Tomorrow we addressed what is debt equity and a cash acquisition or merger. How would that work? And 6 is probably the hardest part for you guys. But using Yahoo Finance, you are able to look easily. If you look at Yahoo Finance for any public company, click on financials, you can actually go in and look at the entire income statement or balance sheet. We will discuss what the balance sheet looks like after the merger or acquisition or spinoff. That's what we'll discuss all day tomorrow. Okay? And if you're thinking I'm crazy for assigning this, I would just like to show you this very quickly. If you throw into Wikipedia, Google purchases, this is how many companies Google has purchased this year. 3. How many did they buy in 2019? 2, 4, 6, 8. In 2018, they purchased 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 companies. In 2017, they purchased about 11. In 2016, they purchased like 20. Oh my gosh. You know, so why do you buy them? You know, so this is real. Like, these businesses are getting scooped up because there's something they have that these businesses want. Amazon also. Amazon bought a bunch of companies in 2019, 18, 2017, 16, 15, 14, 13. All right. So this is real life stuff. So if you want to see some of the stuff they have bought, just go throw it into Wikipedia or Google. You'll find it. All right. But I am going to let you guys go. I don't want to take up all day from you. Anybody have questions before I let you guys go? I posted the new apps class. I will post your class as well because I think we had some good discussion here also. Anybody have anything they have a question on? Unmute, fire away. If not, then I'll let you guys go. Okay, in that case, Godspeed. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Tomorrow's class is earlier. It's Friday, so tomorrow I'll see you guys at 10:40. Dope. I'm excited, guys. I'm excited for this project. Also, I'll tell you what I told Serena. The best projects I want to repost on Twitter. So please take your time in thinking this through. I would love to tag on Twitter every company that you guys have and let them see your idea. Literally pitch it to them, theoretically. Who knows what happens? Maybe they contact you, right? Maybe they DM you. Maybe they don't. You know, maybe you at home can screen record your pitch, upload it to YouTube, and then share it like 1,000 times to that business. And maybe they think, holy cow, this is a great idea. This is a great person. Let me talk to this person. You have no idea what can happen. You know, you have everything at your fingertips. So that is what I want to do. So plan on pitching this to those businesses. I will tell you that. All right, guys, get the hell out of here. Thanks for coming. Thanks for leaving. I will see you tomorrow.